do that so I can pick it up. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's been a while.
Mm-hmm.
We'd like to say that we're now going to start posting every Monday. So look out for that.
Yep.
I guess we tried to take on too much with multiple times a week. But now that we're back in school, time juggling is a little rough.
Mm-hmm.
But make sure to keep checking out future episodes. We've got some interesting guests coming up. And yeah, without further ado, let's move to the topic of the discussion today.
Yep.
So first, do you have anything you'd like to say?
In terms of...
Anything.
Yeah, so, I mean, the topic of today is kind of related to what we've been doing or what we've kind of been obsessing over for the past few weeks.
Yeah, sure.
It's a very health-orientated, but not modern health, as you might see, but more conventional health. Or not conventional is not the word, traditional. But, so...
Yeah, true.
So we've been trying to improve our lives from a traditional health standpoint, and that's what we want to talk about today.
And also, low-key, I feel like it's kind of making a resurgence on TikTok as well.
Yeah, I have seen it.
My cousin knows a lot about, or when I was mentioning it to him, he was telling me Buffalo Wild Wings is cooked in beef tallow.
Yeah.
And he was saying stuff like that, and I was like
yeah.
How'd you even get to this? He's saying Red 40, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's making a resurgence, yeah.
Okay, so on the topic of traditional health, first let's talk about seed oils.
Mm-hmm. It's probably the number one killer, or
Yeah.
in terms of if you had to remove like one thing from your body, you have to remove seed oils.
Yep.
You want to talk about? Or
Yes, sir. Here, I have a list.
Done a lot of research.
I've done a lot of research.
Yeah.
Hopefully this isn't getting the camera angle.
Yeah.
That's fine. So, initially, your gut has access to a lot of the different organs in your body.
Mm-hmm.
So how you treat your gut can determine a lot of your overall health. And the connection between the skin and the gut is called the gut-skin axis. Because this is specifically when I was writing about skincare. So there's a gut-skin axis. But then even there's small organisms in your gut that send signals through the pathway to your skin, and they have an influence on things like sebum production, skin texture, and inflammation. And it's not only skin, but your gut has a connection to a lot of different ways of how you operate. Like, we know about the systems that connect from like your heart and stuff, but your gut has a lot of stuff as well. And seed oils. So the thing with skin and seed oils, and the reason I specifically brought up skin, when you consume seed oils, it causes your skin to be more receptive to sunburn. So if you've noticed, sunscreen rates have gone up in the past since 1930s or whatever, because we're assuming that the Great Depression is when seed oils were introduced into our diet to make things more easily consumable for the population that didn't have that much food. Or they kind of mass-produce food.
Because it's cheaper.
Cheaper, yeah.
Yeah.
And they cause your skin to be more receptive to sunburn. So seed oils, let's take a step back for a second. If you're thinking about saturated fat, saturated fat is anything that's solid or stable, like ghee, like us Indians eat, or butter. Butter is a common saturated fat, and there's even beef tallow and duck lard, and there's a lot.
Yeah.
But they have completely stable bonds. So if you're looking at the chemistry of how saturated fat is made up of, all the bonds are stable. If you're taking a look at monounsaturated fatty acids, which is common in avocado oil or virgin olive oil, or even like macadamia nut oil or palm oil, whatever, they're called monounsaturated fatty acids because they have one unstable bond, and the rest are stable. Saturated has everything stable. If you want to remember it, I heard, saturated S, stable S.
Yeah.
They're solid S, SSS.
Yeah.
They're good. They're fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry about them.
Yeah.
But monounsaturated fatty acids also you shouldn't really have to worry about because there's only one unstable bond. But polyunsaturated fatty acids, which are seed oils, or even peanut oil, sesame oil, canola oil. Canola oil in itself is bad, but I'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah.
Peanut oil all the seed oils, every seed oil, they have a high concentration of polyunsaturated fatty acids. And whenever unstable fats are incorporated into your cell membranes, they can damage skin cells, and if they're incorporated into your mitochondrial membranes, they can affect your energy output. So, and obviously we all learned that mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. So when these unstable fats blend in, or they kind of sync up to the mitochondria of your cell, they affect your energy output, so how energetic you are. Because a lot of people, if you go to schools and stuff, like you've probably noticed as well, they're in brain fog, or they're really tired throughout the afternoon, especially after they eat.
Mm-hmm.
And this also has stuff to do with our evolutionary processes as well. But I think because obviously people, before they're, like, while they're hungry, our ancestors, they hunted, and then once they got their food, they're satisfied. So our bodies learn to not operate at peak capacity after we eat.
Mm-hmm.
But seed oils could be worsening our energy output, and sometimes people's energies just never recover until they go back to sleep. Because our energies, or they're supposed to be in a cycle, but that cycle is being disrupted because of the congestion of seed oils.
Yeah.
And most oils, especially if you want me to give you an example, canola oil. If you're taking peanut oil and sesame oil, they're at least how they were made in traditional Indian times.
Yeah.
They're fine.
They're not refined.
In terms of refinery, yeah. Because they're taken straight from the peanut.
Yeah.
But canola oil is actually made out of a plant called the rapeseed plant.
Mm-hmm.
And rapeseed is toxic straight out of gate. So we can't consume the original rapeseed plant. So they have to refine it. So any canola oil that you see, it's all refined. And canola, so the refinery, so they're called RBD oils. And RBD stands for refined, bleached, and deodorized.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever these oils are exposed to all these processes, they're all high heat processes.
Mm-hmm.
And because of the polyunsaturated fatty acid makeup of the oil, they're, like, as they're heated and reheated, they're broken down into these compounds called aldehydes.
Mm-hmm.
A common example of an aldehyde, 4-HNE. And 4-HNE is actually a known carcinogen. So that's something to...
4-HNE is what then? Or what is its name?
Like its full name?
Yeah. Because when I think of aldehyde, I think of formaldehyde.
Yeah, formaldehyde maybe. It's called 4-hydroxy... 4-hydroxynonenal.
Okay. Well, formaldehyde is a toxic chemical, I'm pretty sure. So.
Formaldehyde could be toxic, yeah. But, I mean, obviously anything with aldehyde is probably bad for you as well.
Yeah.
And if you take a look at avocado oil or extra virgin olive oil, they usually come in dark bottles. And sometimes the really expensive ones, they come in dark glass bottles. That's to prevent the oxidation process. But the seed oils, you mainly find them in plastic with a lot of light exposure.
Yeah.
And this, obviously, we know that plastics equal bad. And in modern health journals and stuff, it's being published that BPA is a thing that's bad for us. But any bisphenol A is BPA. Any bisphenol is bad for us. They're all similar effects. So instead of using BPA, a company would use BPS or BPF or BPSF. Mm-hmm. And these are all, like, pretty similar and should be avoided because they're not natural. They're not.
Yeah.
They're estrogenic. That's the word. Not carcinogenic.
Okay.
And then, I even have it here. Exposure to bisphenols can cause health effects on the brain and even prostate cancer. And even if it didn't have BPs, it could still have phthalates, which are endocrine disrupting. And endocrine disruptors are things that mess with our reproductive system, and they also give us a heightened risk of cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said things like cereal, mayo, prepackaged snacks, chips, all of these foods, they all have seed oils in them. And honestly, if you go to Whole Foods as well, this is kind of a scam because everything in the hot section of Whole Foods all has some canola oil in it.
Yeah.
That's my at least deep dive onto seed oils. If you have any thoughts on it.
I mean, in response to just what you said, even when you look for food without seed oils, it's so difficult. I went into Whole Foods, and I'm like, or even Trader Joe's, and I'm looking for snacks. It's impossible to find them without seed oils because their main focus is it being natural, right?
Yeah.
So maybe it's not going to have, like artificial colors or artificial flavors, but it's still going to have seed oil because that isn't I guess they're not as opposed to seed oil as they are to artificial flavors or artificial, because you'll see packaging all the time, no artificial flavors, no artificial colors, because I think that's something in our society that we've been accustomed to, the fact that it's bad, but not as much seed oils, so it's
true.
really hard to avoid.
And mainstream health has also been kind of diluted. I don't know how much I should say and how much I shouldn't say.
Yeah.
You know what? It's fine. Free speech.
Okay.
Yeah. So, okay.
Pause.
We can cut this out if we need to.
Yeah,
but
okay.
there's a lot of mainstream health companies that dilute some of the information that gets out to the general public. And not in general information is incorrect, but some could be. I saw this thing from the Twitter account Carnivore Aurelius, where he was just making fun of professional studies done. Because they said they had a group of people eat eggs and drink chloroform 3 times a day, and then they had people that eat vegan, and then they exercise, and they do like good running, and they have good sleep and all of that, and then they say, oh, the people that ate eggs got cancer, and the people that didn't, or the people that were vegan were healthy. They're like, eat vegan.
Very being sarcastic.
He's being
right?
sarcastic, obviously. It's not really happening.
Yeah.
But it's poking fun at the fact, like, for example, when American Heart Association in the 50s, 60s, or 70s, I forget, but in the 20th century, they were almost bankrupt, and their biggest sponsor that funded them and revived them was Procter & Gamble.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say anything more about that, but that's something, it's a known fact,
Yeah.
and it's something that we can definitely think about. Yeah. What else was I going to say?
They could just
You
look
cut
it
me
up, though.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, in terms
Oh,
of...
what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. My bad. I regained my train of thought.
Yeah,
I'll finish.
sure.
So, even if you're looking in the 20th century and the 19th century, there was a common narrative that smoking was good for you. And all these cigarette companies got so rich off of that.
Mm.
And it affected a lot of other things as well, like beds, for example. We can get into that later if you want.
Yeah.
But it affected so many other things in the mainstream media. And then they said trans fats were bad, saturated fats were good, which saturated fats are good, that's true. But then they started to group in polyunsaturated fats. They started to say canola oil was a healthy alternative to butter.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, a lot of this research was unfounded. And even if we're going back to the companies thing, a lot of the companies could have prevented some of this information from getting out. Because if there's something that they're making that's at least going or somewhat negatively affecting the American public, they won't let them know.
Yeah.
Or even if the sarcasm has any truth to it, Carnivore releases sarcasm.
Mm-hmm.
There's some manipulated studies.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's gotten to the point of manipulated studies, but I think the studies of biology and chemistry, at least public reports, are very manipulated by the higher-ups
Maybe,
of certain
yeah.
companies or sponsors of the people that can conduct experiments.
Yeah.
That's my train of thought. Now you can add.
Yeah. Bro, I'm not sure if I want to add anything to that.
Okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
Okay. I also put something about soy in here. So soy is not good. And in ancient diets, we mentioned how we were talking, or we're bringing it to more of a traditional health type of thing. And in ancient diets, soy was a thing. Like, we ate soy back in however many civilizations ago. Maybe not Indians, but people in the world, they definitely ate soy.
Like East Asia.
East Asia, 100%, they ate soy.
Yeah.
But the soy that they ate was heavily fermented.
Okay.
And this was actually insane to me, because I found the fact that out of any single plant, vegetable, every food in the world, soy has the highest amount of glyphosate. And glyphosate is something that they put in the chemical to kill the weeds. It's similar to atrazine.
Okay.
The chemical has similar effects on the human systems.
Yeah.
And
Atrazine we should expand on.
yeah, I'll expand on glyphosate first.
Okay.
So according to WebMD, glyphosate is associated with cancer, liver damage, and reproductive issues.
Yeah.
Something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
And soy is also a goitrogen, which means that it swells the thyroid. And thyroid swelling can cause fatigue, constipation, bad hair, dry skin, muscle problems, and fertility problems. And probably a lot more that I haven't mentioned.
Yeah.
So
tofu.
Oh yeah, tofu. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
steer clear.
Yeah.
And soy is also a source of lectins, which are proteins that
So
plants.
this is because the soy is not fermented?
Yeah, fermented soy removes a lot of this stuff, like lectins, for example.
Yeah.
For at least fermented soy, or when we ate soy, we didn't spray glyphosate on it.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever they're growing soy plants, they spray this glyphosate, and it kills the weeds, but the weeds adapt to it and they grow back bigger, so they have to spray even more.
Mm-hmm.
So soy was the number one.
So what does fermentation have to do with, or you mentioned earlier that...
Well, I read that if soy, or at least heavily fermented soy, takes out a lot of this stuff, like lectins, for example.
Oh, okay.
Lectins are proteins that plants use to protect themselves from animals. So animals kind of, whenever they try to eat soy plants, like they developed this protein through natural evolution, in which the animals become paralyzed or something would happen to their immune system, whatever, if they ate soy plants. That's how the plants kept the animals from eating them.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense. But
Yeah.
the fermentation process can probably remove a lot of that.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, that's all I had about soy.
Okay.
But, like, unless you freshly grow it yourself without the use of herbicides, or you have really heavy, clean fermentation,
Yeah.
then you can eat soy. But most snacks and most stuff that you find soy in, even soybean oil, it's not good.
Yeah.
Or soy-fed milk is not good either.
Yeah. Soy-fed milk, meaning the...
So in the modern era, at least since the Great Depression, to make milk more easily accessible, instead of feeding cows grass, we fed them soy and wheat. And this soy has a shit ton of bacteria. And it has, the wheat has a ton of bacteria, and the soy has all this, like, bad stuff.
So then the cows can't be great, or even, like, the beef that you're getting from that cow won't be great.
100% it's not great. The best meat, or, I mean, if you're, like, looking to eat beef, the best cow that you can get is definitely a grass-fed cow.
Mm-hmm.
And the same can be said for milk as well.
Oh, grass-fed steak, that's why they
Yeah.
say, yeah.
And grass-fed milk as well. Highly pasteurized milk.
Yeah.
Whatever, you can find that pretty easily.
Pasteurized milk?
Yeah.
I've heard that.
Raw milk is better.
Yeah.
I've heard that raw milk is better too.
Okay.
But I'm not 100% sure on this, because all I drink is grass-fed milk.
Yeah.
It's just grass-fed. Like, there's no extra tags on it. But my dad was saying that raw milk can give you diseases.
Yeah.
But I've heard Carnivore Aurelius, for example, is a strong advocate of raw milk. So maybe we should look more into that.
Oh, yeah.
But I think for now, stick with grass-fed milk. Raw or pasteurized.
I think raw milk
video.
was probably okay at a time when our immune systems weren't as weak, but because of how sterilized where we live has become, that our bodies might not be able to handle raw milk.
Yeah, that could be the case as well. And then I also have something about high fructose corn syrup.
So grass-fed milk is super pasteurized?
No. Grass-fed milk is just milk from a grass-fed cow.
Uh-huh.
And raw milk it comes straight from the cow to you.
Yeah, so why did you say grass-fed milk, highly pasteurized milk, when you were...
Because I've heard that highly pasteurized is good. And I've heard from different sources, not even just my dad. I've seen on Twitter and stuff that highly pasteurized milk is good for you. But then there's also some people that say raw milk is better for you.
Yeah.
And I think you might be on the money that our immune systems back then were adapted to raw milk and it's good for us.
Yeah.
But also my dad was saying that this is a kind of a tangent, but we can return back to topic.
Mm-hmm.
He's saying the reason why cows are worshipped in Hindu society is because...
Not worshipped, honored.
Or not worshipped,
honored. Yeah.
Well, my dad used the word worship.
Yeah,
but
I think that's what people...
Yeah,
mistranslation, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Regardless, the reason why cows are an important thing in Hindu culture, or one of the reasons, he said they're a friend to humans, but similar to how a dog is in Western culture.
Yeah.
But he also said that a cow has this ability to where if it smells any disease, it'll go and eat the plants that can alleviate that disease. And that milk will have all the nutrients that you need.
Oh. Yeah.
And he said his great-grandfather told him that. His great-grandfather was also telling him about grounding. He said the plants will get sad if they don't sense the presence of your feet or something like that.
Yeah.
He said his grandpa never said anything to him. He was like your grandpa. He lived to like he was 100.
Yeah.
And all he did was just farm all day.
Yeah.
And he ate terribly.
My great-grandpa lived till 92, yeah.
Yeah, my great-grandpa lived to like 100.
Yeah.
and all he did, he it's kind of sad if you think about it. This is another tangent, but he died after my grandpa did. My grandpa died early. He died before I was born.
Oh, okay.
Like my dad's dad.
Yeah.
But my great grandpa, he's a little after my birth.
Oh.
Which is unfortunate.
Yeah,
But he's a long liver.
Yeah.
Big guy.
Yeah.
And the only advice he ever gave my dad was step in the grass with your bare feet.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, you were talking about that. We can talk about that. It's also traditional health.
Yeah. It's I think it's good for you. I've read about it, and I just feel good when I do it. Like when I.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
It reduces the cortisol, which is a stress hormone. It's a good thing. Same effect as when you go. Actually, sunlight increases your cortisol, but increases it to the right level, or it maintains your cortisol at a right level. But if it's too high, the stepping on grass can decrease it to the perfect level as well.
Okay.
You mind handing me a water bottle?
Yeah.
Never mind. You gave it to me.
Okay.
Okay, but you, I think, looked into grounding more than I did.
I didn't research too much into it. I read that it was good, and then I was doing it. I felt good while doing it. Also, it's nice not having to put your shoes on before you leave go outside, you know.
Yeah, true.
Also, shoes, one thing that shoes, like, especially, like, work shoes or dress shoes. Yeah, sorry. Especially work shoes or dress shoes. The toe part is super tight. So when you're wearing that over time, it's going to shift the structure of your feet. So
really?
There was a picture taken of a working class man. I forgot what time period, but I think it was at a time period when the shoes were obviously not as great as they are today, but his foot or his toes had completely shifted to the left.
Are you serious?
Because of how the shoe was shaped.
That's crazy.
So I guess
What if
people against wearing shoes, or people advocating for grounding, often refer to shoes as foot prisons. Right? So yeah. I think that they're referring to that as because of how shoes shift your feet structure and also how tight they are, and it's not good. You need air to come to your feet. So I feel better when I'm walking barefoot, or even sandals. Why do we wear sandals in the summer? It's just more comfortable.
I'm happy that we've kind of addressed that not we've addressed it, but we've never shifted from it in Indian homes. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm gonna keep it the same for my kids as well.
Especially when
if I do an interracial marriage, I want to make sure my wife does it as well.
Yeah. Shoes in the house is definitely a no.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
And
even runners now, they have running sandals.
Really?
Yeah. Because they cite how Native Americans used to travel thousands of miles in these sandals, and like modern companies or entrepreneurs have designed these sandals for running.
Yeah, we don't need that.
They're citing modern technology or research for it.
We definitely do not need that.
Need what?
Sandals. Just go barefoot.
Yeah, but I feel like the problem with barefoot is it depends on where you're running. The reason we wore shoes in the first place, from an evolutionary standpoint, or not evolutionary standpoint, historical standpoint, for protection for our feet. If you're going across a rocky area, there's a risk there.
Yeah.
So sandals offer that protection.
That's true. That makes sense. In that case, yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
If I'm running in dirt, then I don't see the need for sandals. But if I'm running in a rocky area...
But you never know, right? Especially if you're not familiar with the terrain like our ancestors were. Mm. You're running through a new trail. How do you know how the terrain...
At least I think the trail by my house is pretty rocky. I never go without shoes.
Yeah.
And I run almost every other day.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I guess, I don't know. Maybe I was preoccupied with something, but yes, I definitely agree. I don't know why I said I didn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The next thing we could talk about is beds, or if you want to go a little bit deeper into milk.
We can go back to milk. I'm fine with milk.
Okay. So the cows in most milk are soy and grain fed, which is insanely bad for your testosterone levels. Soy has phytoestrogens, which reduce testosterone levels, because estrogen and testosterone operate on a level where I forgot which part of your body produces it, but the part of your body that produces testosterone is the same as the part of your body that produces estrogen. And in males, it's like I don't know the exact percentages, but it's, if you think, or let's make an example where we can say a male body produces 80% testosterone and 20% estrogen, and a woman body produces 70% estrogen and 30% testosterone.
Mm-hmm.
The more estrogen you put in, the more testosterone is suppressed, because the same part of your body that's making the 80% testosterone, part of it shifts to making estrogen, so it goes from 80-20 to 60-40.
Mm-hmm.
Or 70-30.
Yeah.
60-40 is like really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's not good. That's ruining your natural balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so soy has these phytoestrogens, and the grain that cows fed has fungus because it's super low quality, and it produces a toxin called ZEA, which is also estrogenic. And then also there's a plastic problem, in which a bunch of plastic milk packaging has BPA, BPS, BPSF.
Uh-huh.
I've seen that Oberweis milk is good quality, but that's what I put on the script, but I'm gonna backtrack on that as well, because I've looked up Oberweis and their cows aren't grass fed, but it comes in, it's highly pasteurized. It's a glass covering, but it's also, there's no confirmation on if it's grass fed. Okay. So I'm gonna hold off on that. But if you see, the best milk to have is grass-fed milk, but obviously if you can't find grass-fed milk, the ones that come in glass bottles and the highly pasteurized, I think they're the second best choice.
Yeah. So why is plastic bad? We should expand on that. I feel like why. So even if we assume you're buying grass-fed milk, but it's coming in a plastic container, mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, so
it's estrogenic. That's the primary reason, and then the secondary reason.
It's estrogenic because of the BPA, or
yeah, and microplastics. There's a lot of stuff inside plastics that's estrogenic.
Okay.
It's not. I mean, I feel like mainstream health has pushed that enough, but we can talk about it a little if you want.
Yeah.
I gave a presentation on plastics over the summer to a bunch of school kids in India.
Yeah.
And essentially, there's a lot of different harms of plastic if we're talking about on the human system.
Yeah.
Mainly, the biggest thing I kind of emphasized was that it was carcinogenic,
mm-hmm.
but it's also hormone disrupting.
Mm-hmm.
So testosterone and estrogen, but also, I'm not 100% sure on this, but I'm pretty certain to say that it can have an effect on height or your body's development during puberty as well.
Yeah. Well, if it messes with your hormones, then
yeah,
I'd assume it also messes with your growth, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then there's also something, like whenever there's microplastics in the water, a lot of plastic waste ends up in the water. This is more towards our environment than on humans, but this should also be addressed. Whenever there's plastic in the oceans, whenever the water goes up for rain,
evaporates.
Yeah. The microplastics or the BPA, or maybe it's not BPA or microplastics, but the chemicals that comprise these things, they stay up in the clouds and they trap the heat on the sun. So all the global warming stuff that you're hearing about is actually as a result. And I think that was an important point to emphasize in India, especially because it's getting so much hotter over there compared to here at least. But even here you can notice it's getting in the hundreds recently, and there's less and less snow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But even if you're taking away the environmental impact, I think the hormone disrupting thing is a big reason to why we should stop. Because it gets everywhere too. If it gets in the water, that means it gets in the plants when you water the plants.
Yeah.
And it gets in the
it's a trickle down effect.
Yeah, the meat, because the animals, they drink the water that's estrogenic.
Yeah.
Same thing with, as you were saying, with cows, non-grass fed cows.
Yeah. And
how the steak is bad, the milk is bad, everything is bad.
Yeah. Yeah, everything's interconnected. That's how the environment is. You're polluting one part, you're polluting another part too.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
And then, if we're moving on to beds, we'll get to that section later. If we're polluting beds, if we're talking about beds, back when smoking was considered good in the 20th century, people would smoke on beds after sex,
mm-hmm.
and there's a highly flammable risk with beds. So whenever people were smoking and they'd throw their cigarette away or whatever, they weren't taking caution because they're like little retards back in they were little idiots back in the day, and their beds would catch on fire and stuff. So bed companies, what they did in the 1950s, 1960s, was they developed these
mattress companies. You mean? Yeah.
mattress companies.
Yeah.
They developed. I don't know if I gave them a specific chemical, but they developed a bunch of toxins for making the mattress non-flammable. And we're sleeping on this bed 9 hours a day, like 8 to 9, or at least 7 to 9 hours a day. We're sleeping on this bed, and often people sleep on their sides or like on the front. And even if you're sleeping on the back, if you're surrounded by all this shit in your bed and you're breathing into it for 9 hours a day, sometimes it's even in the pillowcases too. And obviously that can't be good for you if you think about it.
Yeah.
It just can't.
Yeah.
And then, the best thing to sleep on, the Japanese actually have it right on this one, and it's tatami mats or military cots. Because most mattresses, it's rare to find a good quality mattress.
Yeah.
Especially, even if you get a new mattress and you smell it, it has a distinct smell. It shouldn't have that smell.
What about some of the new mattress companies? So a recent trend within the mattress industry has been bed in a box. So they roll it up, it's compressed air, you take it out, it expands and it's permanent. But a lot of these companies have switched from, so you're saying what they're putting in these mattresses is a chemical that goes on top, like the surface of the bed, right?
I'm not sure. It could be coated inside the bed as well.
Okay.
But let's say it was. What's your point that you have to continue making?
Right. So mattress companies are using new materials now, like, I don't know. Have you heard of Purple mattress? I mean, a lot of people have seen the ads. Okay. They use this grid. It's called the Purple mattress because that grid is purple, but it's like a grid and it's supposed to evenly distribute your weight. But, for example, it's not a spring mattress like we might have had in the past. Or most of the mattresses nowadays are like memory foam mattresses.
I've seen those, yeah.
Yeah. So is this still applicable to like different materials or?
Okay. It's saying that memory foam is highly combustible, which means that memory foam mattresses have flame retardants. And flame retardants are associated with endocrine disruption, which I've explained are
Okay. What about
the
Purple?
reproductive system.
Look up the Purple mattress. I forgot what their proprietary technology is called. Maybe look up what it's called first and then.
Yeah. To try to prevent mold and mildew, many polyurethane, which is what Purple mattress uses, come with a waterproof PVC cover, and unfortunately, PVC has its own environmental health effects. PVC is made with phthalates, which is, I think,
general rule, anything you can't pronounce is not good for you.
Yeah, and they're saying that PVC is a known hormone disruptor.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at least watch what you sleep on.
Yeah.
Look into it, maybe. Be aware of what you're consuming.
A lot of pipes are made out of PVC.
Yeah. PVC pipes. We've used them in a lot of various areas.
Is that how we get water, through PVC pipes?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Really not.
I think it's for drainage.
Yeah. But also we have... My battery's going down.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it's fine. Maybe it'll go back up.
When it goes down to 3, take it out. Or pause the thing.
Alright. If we're going on to the topic of water, let's try to cram as much... Oh, no, it's going back up.
Okay.
Let's transition.
Yeah.
If we're going on to the topic of water...
You want to conclude mats a little bit, or beds? You want to conclude a little bit on beds?
I think we have a good conclusion in which we say, or at the point where we say, look into what you're sleeping on.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the most important things.
Yeah. You're talking about the Japanese. They have...
tatami mats.
Yeah.
Tatami mats are good. Tatami mats are fine.
They're good because...
Dude, tatami mats, the samurais were sleeping on them back in the day. Like a long time ago. There's the same tatami mats. They haven't been... Nothing has happened to them in the past however many years. So tatami mats are safe. Military cots, because the military knows, like, we don't want our guys to get turned into fucking women. So they have the...
Cool it, bro.
It's a joke, okay? But they have military cots are safe.
Yeah. Cut this
generally.
out, bro.
It's fine. It's fine. It's a joke, bro.
I know, but
Okay,
still,
it's
bro.
not that bad. All right. So if we're on the topic of water, this is, I guess, the first thing before I even say anything. You should get a water filter in your house.
Yeah.
And because water has chlorine and fluoride,
Mm-hmm.
because they use chlorine to kill the bacteria in water,
Mm-hmm.
and fluoride mainly comes from toothpaste, and they even put fluoride in water to clean out some salt and stuff like that.
So the filter in our refrigerators filter out chloride, but not fluoride. Or fluoride.
Yeah,
Okay.
they filter out chlorine, but they don't filter out
Chlorine,
fluoride. You
but
mix
not
them up,
fluoride. Yeah.
But so the reason why fluoride was introduced in our toothpaste, I guess, was where it was first introduced. The reason why fluoride was introduced is because sugars and high fructose corn syrup were damaging teeth and causing teeth decay, and they implemented fluoride in toothpaste because fluoride is known as enamel healing.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I think that this is generally not a good approach to go to.
Yeah.
First, high fructose corn syrup is terrible for you.
Yeah.
Never use it. But when they were putting high fructose corn syrup in the foods back in the day, when they were making things more commercially accessible to everyone,
Yeah.
they put in fluoride in toothpaste to help. But the solution to a problem is to never put another problem on top of it. That's why, in terms of skincare, I'm a strong advocate against all this moisturizer, cleanser, sunscreen stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because the problem with our skin isn't the fact that we are, or it's not the fact that we don't have these three things. Because a lot of people, our ancestors never used these three things. Nothing in those things, or nothing in moisturizer, cleanser, sunscreen we actually need.
Yeah, or if you look at tribal people, their skin is flawless.
Yeah, their skin is fine, and it's great, honestly.
Yeah.
And they have less of a reliance on it as we do.
Yeah.
The thing skincare was implemented to solve was the problem with our diets.
Yeah.
With corn syrup, soy, seed oils,
Yeah.
all this stuff that's being put into our diets.
Yeah.
To mitigate that problem, they put in skincare.
Yeah.
And if you ever noticed, after you stop using skincare, your skin gets exponentially worse before it gets better.
Mm-hmm.
Because your body starts relying on the external products so much that it stops producing things internally.
Yeah.
And it takes a while for your body to get that system back to normal. And that the same can be said with shampoo as well. Shampoos and conditioners.
Mm-hmm.
They have all these benzophenone,
Yeah.
which they're all endocrine disruptors. But anything with benzo, or anything with benz and anything with phene, general rule is avoid it. Because the shampoo that I use has like 5 ingredients, and it's all rosemary oil, a coconut oil, olive oil, castor oil, and like lavender oil. That's a 5 thing that's in my.
So it's just oil?
It's just oil.
So
But I
wait,
don't know how it cleans my scalp as well.
so
It's a thing that we saw.
it's
at
the
Whole
bar.
Foods that day.
Yeah. So it's a
The
bar, and then it lathers.
I don't know.
Like, does it make bubbles and stuff, or does it become white or soapy when you put it on your hair?
Yeah, it becomes soapy.
How? If it's just
I don't know.
oil.
You can tell a difference when you put it on your head and you like wipe it around and you keep it in your hair for like a minute or so, and then you wash it all off. Your hair definitely feels different, and you can feel the feeling when you put it on your hair as well. I'm not too sure about what it is. I just bought it because it had natural ingredients.
Okay.
But a lot of the ingredients in shampoos, phthalates, parabens, sulfates,
Yeah.
all of those in shampoos and conditioners.
I think sulfate-free and paraben-free is a movement that we've seen even in mainstream.
That's at least that's a good thing. I'm happy that
Yeah.
that's being addressed because they're all known endocrine disruptors,
Yeah.
or they're estrogenic. Either
Yeah.
way, it's not good.
Yeah.
But back to fluoride in toothpaste.
Mhm.
The reason why fluoride in toothpaste was introduced was to kind of mitigate this.
Can we
this-
discuss one more thing?
Yeah, sure, go on.
About when we were talking about estrogenic, right? I think people have the wrong idea of what that means. Meaning, like, so it's disrupting your hormones. So people.
We need, or I'll let you finish your question, but humans need a certain amount of testosterone and a certain amount of estrogen.
Exactly.
So estrogen is not bad for you, but you have to keep it in the amount that your body produces.
Right. So I think we should touch on the fact that this is not just affecting males. It's
affecting women as well.
It's affecting women as well. Yeah. You made a joke earlier, like they don't want the military guys to become women. But in the same way, you don't want a woman's balance to fall out of where it's supposed to be either. It's just disrupting your balance, and that's why it's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fine. I wanted to make a joke, but I can't. It's too risky.
Yeah. Okay.
But if we're bringing ourselves back to the topic of
what's the
fluoride,
joke? We can cut it out.
I'll tell you. There's a better section at the end that I can joke into.
Okay.
But if we, so the reason why fluoride was introduced into our water,
toothpaste,
our toothpaste in our water, was to get rid of this tooth decay that high fructose corn syrup was causing.
Right.
But I think the solution to that should be you take out whatever was causing that problem in the first place. You don't add something, because it's the same.
You're solving your problem with another problem.
Yeah, you're solving your problem with another problem. That's a better way to put it than I could think of.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this fluoride also, it binds to the calcium in the pineal gland of your brain, which is important if you're both a man and a woman for sleep. But especially if you're a woman, it's important for your. You okay?
Yeah.
Okay. If you're a woman, it's important for your menstrual cycles. So the effect of fluoride on the pineal gland, there's no research on it, but we know that it comprises a large part of our brain.
Mm-hmm.
And but what's the point in taking chances of something unnatural, unknown, especially in the brain? The brain is it's insane. There was a study, I cited it as Green et al. 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a 5-point decrease in IQ in males and an average of 3.66 points decrease in females in IQ that were exposed to fluoride in their mother's womb, according to that 2019 paper.
Mm-hmm.
And then magnesium fluoride, which exists in nature, is actually good for you. But hydrofluorosilicic acid, which is used in water salination, is not good. This acid is actually industrial waste from aluminum and fertilizer production.
Mm-hmm.
And then animal studies, if you remove the fluoride, their pineal glands actually grow. And this isn't official, but with non-fluoridated toothpaste, people are able to dream and recall their dreams better. The study in which that was revealed, I don't think was conducted by any official source, but I think someone conducted an amateur study where they had them use non-fluoride products and non-fluoridated water for a while, and they found, or they used it to track the effect on their dreams, and they found that people could remember their dreams better if they lived in a non-fluoridated environment for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Which that gives me reason enough to know this might not be a good thing.
So personal question: are you not using fluoride toothpaste anymore?
I went to Whole Foods and I bought the non-fluoride toothpaste.
Okay.
I'm still using fluoride toothpaste as of now because I don't want to waste it.
Oh,
even though I probably should.
Right.
But it's almost done. Once it's done, I'll switch over.
Okay.
Same with soap as well. I'm on my last bar of cheap soap.
Yeah.
I got African black soap. All natural ingredients.
I buy natural soap from Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just stopped using the cheap soap. I'm throwing it away. I don't care.
Yeah, maybe I should do that as well.
Yeah.
But the best way to treat it is to use, or fluoride in your water, is to use charcoal filter or a water distiller.
Yep.
But if you're drinking that water, the water distiller might not be a good idea because it takes out all the electrolytes in the water. So there's not really a surefire way. You just have to live in that environment for a while. Every big city has fluoride and chlorine in their water.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to remove chlorine, just get a shower filter.
Mm-hmm.
Some shower filters have a little bit of an effect on fluoride as well.
Yeah.
But shower filter, probably the best thing you can do. It improves your skin, your hair, and your health.
Yeah.
So no reason not to get one. And they're like $20 to $30.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And then, is there anything else you want to add?
Okay. So you said that most big cities have fluoride and chlorine in their water.
Yeah.
But a huge problem, at least as far as I know in India right now, is also the water, these chemicals seeping into waters or bodies of water near rural areas.
Yeah.
So is that the same here?
I'd assume so.
Yeah.
In general, it's safer to use one. Safer
Yeah.
to use one than not to use one.
Yeah.
Because even when I went, even with the basic filtration system, it doesn't really take that much out.
So how are these chemicals getting into bodies of water near rural areas?
Downflow, probably.
Yeah.
If they use it in urban areas,
Okay.
it cycles through back to the rural areas.
But it's higher in urban areas.
Yeah,
you
of
would
course.
say.
Yeah,
Okay.
because that's where all this stuff is.
Yeah.
Oh, and also another thing before we move on to the
Sure.
last topic.
Sure.
I forgot to mention this, and I don't have the script on it, but I was reading about it the other day. Birth control is, at least regardless of political opinion on whether you think casual sex is okay or not, or whatever you think about casual sex, birth control is just not good for us. And birth control as well, it is, whenever a woman that's constantly on birth control pees it out, or just pees, some of her hormones like go in the water, and our filtration systems, they don't detect female hormones because obviously they're not built to. And when the water is recycled, like you could actually be showering in female hormones, or you could be drinking water, like hormone water. It's crazy.
Which disrupts anyone's balance.
Yeah, both men and women.
Yeah.
Okay, Shyam's not involved in this. This is all me. But I think this is information that we should at least inform the general public of. Okay, there's a chemical called atrazine that comes in fertilizers, and it releases atrazine in farms, which is no. This is an insane endocrine disruptor. It's everywhere in the world. It's in the U.S., India, and it's super potent because of its use in pesticides and fertilizers in farm. Europe has banned atrazine, and it goes into the air. So there was a study in which they tracked the effective atrazine on frogs, and 10 of the male frogs turned into women. Think of how insane that is.
On what basis are you saying they turned into women?
That's what I saw.
What does that mean, though? What does a frog? What does it mean for a frog to turn into a woman?
Frog turned female. It's the first thing.
Yeah, but what does it mean for a frog to turn into a woman?
Okay, they're born genetically as male, but they develop as women.
What does that mean? Oh, like female parts.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes way. So.
As in female genitalia?
Yeah. And female hormones, everything.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we'll leave it off there.
Yeah.
Good episode.
Yeah.
What?